In the dim glow of flickering candles, Leonardo da Vinci hunched over his easel in a Florence workshop cluttered with shadows and half-born inventions, his mind a storm of whispers from the unseen. The year was 1503, and the air hung thick with the scent of linseed oil and unspoken dread, as if the walls themselves mourned secrets too heavy to bear. Leonardo, a man of 51, bore the weight of genius like a crown of thorns, his eyes sharp yet weary, reflecting a soul torn between the beauty of creation and the terror of destruction. Born illegitimate in the Tuscan hills, he had always felt like a ghost in the world of men, dissecting cadavers by night to chase the spark of life, only to find decay. Staring back, fueling his inner war. Was knowledge a gift from God or a curse from the devil? Now, commissioned to paint Lisa del Giocondo, a merchant's wife with sorrow etched in her gentle features, he saw in her a mirror of his own fractured spirit. Lisa, at 24, carried the ghost of a lost child, her marriage a gilded cage where duty smothered dreams, leaving her conflicted, yearning for freedom yet bound by faith, her fate sealed in quiet oblivion. As he sketched her outline, visions assaulted him, raging floods, swallowing cities, skies cracking with divine fury, humanity drowned in its sins. These prophecies, scribbled in mirror writing to evade the Inquisition's grasp, clawed at his consciences who had warned the world or bury the truth to spare it panic. One stormy evening, as thunder roared like judgment, he embedded the first code in her eyes, faint letters L and V, nodding to Leviticus and the Leviathan's rise, a haunting mark that lingered like blood on marble. Salai, his apprentice and adopted son, a golden-curled rogue just past his 20th summer, watched from the shadows, jealousy festering within him. Salai craved Leonardo's approval like a starving man seeks bread, yet resented his master's obsessions, his own tragic path leading to poverty and a violent end. That night, as rain lashed the windows, Salai stole a glance at the notebooks, his fingers trembling on pages detailing prophecies of waters rising to cleanse the wicked, an image that burned into his soul, a deluge devouring homes, bodies floating like forgotten sins. Leonardo caught him, their argument echoing through the room like a requiem, deepening the rift between them. "You meddle with fire, boy," Leonardo whispered, his voice breaking, torn between mentor and father. The painting progressed slowly, each brushstroke a battle. Lisa posing with a smile that hid her grief, her hand resting on her lap like a final prayer. In one session, she confessed her fears of damnation for reading forbidden texts, her words hanging in the air like incensed smoke, leaving Leonardo haunted by the thought of dragging her into his abyss. As the background took shape, twisting rivers foreshadowing floods, the code deepened, a subtle 72 under a bridge, symbolizing cycles of doom, calculated from ancient stars. A plague rumor swept Florence, bodies piled in carts under moonlit streets, mirroring his visions and searing an image of rotting flesh and wailing orphans into everyone's mind. Leonardo sketched masks against the miasma, but the church decried them as sorcery, amplifying his conflicted innovation versus heresy. Salai, in a fit of rage, nearly destroyed a page, his tears mixing with ink. A moment frozen like a Caravaggio chiaroscuro, light on betrayal, shadow on regret. Lisa miscarried again, blaming the cursed sittings, her pale face a portrait of loss that lingered in Leonardo's dreams, pushing him to encode more urgently. As the weeks bled into months, tension mounted in Florence. The Pazzi family conspired against the Medici, their plot a lethal flower blooming in the heart of power. Whispers painted targets on backs, paranoia poisoning the air, forcing Leonardo to hide his prophetic sketches, fearing they'd brand him heretic. Lisa, sensing his turmoil, questioned the cost of his genius. Watching him pace their garden, a caged panther pacing its prison, was his torment a burden or a choice? She found solace in tending herbs, seeking healing touch amid the growing darkness. Her spirit, a willow bending but not breaking under skies pregnant with Medici wrath. Then came the day when the fragile peace shattered, the Pazzi uprising spilling blood in the cathedral, a sea of hate surging towards the Medici stronghold. Fearing for Lisa's safety, Leonardo rushed home, his steps echoing urgency, only to find Salai standing amidst the wreckage of their haven. The apprentice's golden curls were dusted with plaster, his eyes blazing with fear and defiance. "They came for you, Maestro," he choked out, gesturing to the ransacked studio. "But I stopped them." Leonardo felt a surge of pride mixed with dread. His secret was safe, but at what cost? That night, he added another layer of protection, weaving constellations into the background, a celestial cipher only he understood, hiding his fear behind furious strokes. Lisa, though shaken, found strength in Salai's courage, realizing the fire in his heart mirrored her own yearning for liberation. Leonardo wrestled with his demons, knowing the painting's completion loomed. The truth was his obsession, his burden, and now Salai shared it. Their fates entwined. The apprentice slept fitfully, nightmares chasing him like hounds, visions of drowning, earthquakes, and death. He clutched the crucifix given to him by Leonardo, seeking solace in its familiarity, praying to a god he wasn't sure he believed in. Then dawn broke, casting a fragile light on the city. Amidst the tremors of change, Leonardo knew he must finish. With shaking hands, he encoded the final verse from Isaiah's prophecy of judgment, hiding it in the rocks behind Lisa's right shoulder. His masterpiece complete, he stepped back, exhausted. The Mona Lisa was done, yet everything had changed. Florence braced for Medici retribution, their vengeance a storm gathering on the horizon. Leonardo felt exposed, his genius and madness laid bare. As he prepared for exile, he looked at Lisa, her face still serene, her enigmatic smile a shroud for the apocalypse. Salai stood by, his youthful face drawn, sharing his master's fate. In the somber farewell, there was a flicker of understanding between them, two souls bound by a secret too heavy to bear alone. Together, they would carry the burden of the prophecy, their fates entwined with the enigmatic Mona Lisa. Her placid gaze seemed to mock his turmoil, holding the secrets of the impending doom he had unveiled. As he prepared to leave, he added one last detail, a veil of mist over her eyes, hiding the celestial map that could bring salvation or damnation. The Mona Lisa was finished, but its meaning remained shrouded in mystery, much like the turbulent lives of those who created it. Leonardo da Vinci, the tormented genius, his mind forever wrestling with the darkness within and without. Salai, the fiery apprentice, grappling with his own demons while trying to forge a path in a world that had little use for his kind. And Lisa del Giocondo, the enigmatic subject whose serene smile belied a heart heavy with secrets and sorrow. Their stories, like the painting that immortalized her, are a testament to the complexities of human existence, a reminder that even in the most idyllic of portraits, there is always more than meets the eye. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of art and intrigue. If you enjoyed this tale, we invite you to explore more of our content, where the boundaries between reality and illusion are often blurred, leaving you to question the very nature of truth. For now, keep pondering the mysteries of the universe and the enigmatic smile of the Mona Lisa. Until next time, stay curious. The year was 1516, and the great Leonardo da Vinci had fled to France, his mortal coils unraveling like frayed threads of silk. The Mona Lisa, his masterpiece, was cradled close as a forbidden child, hidden away amidst royal patronage in the Angbois chateau. Its cool stone walls echoed not just with the murmur of the Loire, but with ghosts of unfulfilled promises and apocalyptic murmurs. At 67, his own body frail from a debilitating stroke, his hand trembled like autumn leaves skittering across a tomb. Staring at the portrait in flickering candlelit chambers, he saw not just the enigmatic smile, but a world of shadows playing across its surface like fingers of fate. The visionary genius within him, once so vibrant, now felt torn and doubting. Inventions that could have graced the world were birthing monsters instead, magnificent machines of war that would only sow death and destruction. And as the years waned, he realized his greatest invention, the Mona Lisa, was itself a prophecy, a vision of impending doom. And then there was Lisa, back in Florence, her conflict unresolved, faith versus mystery, the woman who had dared to be both subject and cipher. She withered under the pall of grief, her final years passing in quiet obscurity, finally succumbing in 1542. The painting, however, remained immortalized yet erased, a haunting echo in art's annals. Salai, his wayward pupil, had inherited the painting, his roguish charm and roguish ways slowly fading into dissipation. He squandered fortunes at cards and dice, met his demise in a bloody duel in 1524, a blade piercing his heart under starless skies. An image as indelible as it was tragic, blood pooling around him like spilled wine, his eyes wide in regret, forever frozen at the moment of impact. Leonardo, though, had refined the code in secrecy, imbuing the painting with hidden meanings that spoke of doomsday. The background's misty horizon was a shroud over impending cataclysm, the rivers a map of flood paths traced in his deluge drawings. There, swirling vortices devoured lands, mirroring the tempest brewing in his soul. Prophecies of terrific reports, stunning men hinted at explosions woven into the very fabric of the painting like threads of doom. Then came King Francis himself, resplendent in gold brocade, visiting the chateau in 1524 to marvel at the work. Amidst the opulent halls of Angbois, he stood before the canvas, praising Leonardo's genius, unaware of the truths the artist held close, his silence a weighty veil over the king's head, leaving the monarch with fleeting awe and wonder. The royal hand lingering on the smooth surface, the ghost of a smile playing on the king's lips. But the image of that visit, too, was absorbed into the tapestry of doom. For Leonardo, the visions intensified in his dreams. At night, the Mona Lisa animated, her smile twisting into a scream as waters rose, drowning the world, the painting a portal to a watery grave. He'd wake in a cold sweat, imprinted with terror, the canvas alive, her eyes accusing in the gloom, their secrets heavy as tombstones. Then letters from Salai arrived, beseeching forgiveness, ink smudged with tears, his elegant hand becoming Salai's, the weight of Leonardo's guilt deepening with every plea. One relic remained, a pardon, a yellowed parchment from Pope Clement, Salai's last chance at absolution, the words fading like the life draining from his veins. Now, 4 centuries later, in the dimly lit study of a Manhattan townhouse, an occult scholar named Elena pores over scans of the painting. It's 2025 and she's obsessed. Her mind is a labyrinth, caught between the allure of inherited madness and the need for rationality. In the solitude of her Upper East Side domain, she deciphers the letters in the eyes, finding solace in numbers. 72, a mathematical constant, yields 4006, the year of a great flood. Her visions matching those of Leonardo's climate woes. Rising seas swallow the Tuscan coast, cities are submerged, and survivors cling to ruined towers like drowned hopes. Alina publishes her findings, but faces fierce backlash at stormy conferences. Accusations rain down on her like biblical wrath, and her partner deserts her in shadowy doorways, leaving her to face the storm alone. As her world shrinks to the confines of her apartment, the Mona Lisa watches, an ethereal presence in the gloom. And then, as if scripted by fate, an alarm rings in the Louvre. Alina, feverish with excitement, sees this as confirmation, rushing to Paris to expose the truth. In the darkened museum, she moves through the labyrinthine corridors, her steps echoing in the vast emptiness, the faint scent of old oil paints clinging to the air. As she reaches the famous painting, she sees the reflection of her face in its polished surface, distorted and pale in the dim emergency lighting. But when she turns, there are no guards, no visitors, just the looming presence of the Mona Lisa. In a moment of inspiration or madness, she reaches out to touch the glass case, her fingertips meeting the barrier between her and the painting. Feeling the cold surface beneath her skin, the rest is a blur, sirens wailing in the distance, footsteps echoing in the cavernous halls, and the harsh glare of spotlights as she's led away, broken and defeated. But Elena's story isn't over yet. The code of dooms embedded in the canvas has claimed another victim. In the sequel, the painting's prophecy strikes again, this time claiming the life of Elena herself. During a research trip to Venice, the tide rises inexorably, turning streets into canals. She finds refuge in an ancient church, its foundations crumbling beneath the water, its relics swallowed by the rising tide. There, amid the debris and shadows, she remembers the stories she once dismissed as fanciful, the whispers of hidden codes and prophecies of doom. She thinks of Leonardo, haunted by visions, and Lisa, whose fate was sealed by her enigmatic smile. As the water level climbs, Elena realizes she's not safe anywhere. Not from the rising waters, not from the painting's curse. With each passing moment, the city is reclaimed by the sea. Venice, the city of canals, ironically drowning in its own waters. Elena makes her way through flooded squares and submerged palaces, seeking higher ground, but finds only rising water and encroaching darkness. In a final tragic tableau, Elena's body is discovered among the ancient stones. Her face, serene yet tormented, mirrors Lisa's enigmatic smile, trapped in the painting's eternal Baroque canvas. The painting survives, its secrets buried with its subjects, its prophecies swallowed by the sea. The code endures, whispering tales of wars and mechanical serpents, of famines amid plenty, and of skies cracked by man's hubris. A grim foreshadowing of our times. Now, after all these years, all these tragedies, we are left to ponder, is Apocalypse coded in art, or was it just Leonardo's chilling game of shadows? The Mona Lisa still stares back, enigmatic and remote, her gaze a gloomy abyss where mysteries drown, leaving us stirred by emotional depths, inner storms, and the inescapable doom. A timeless Baroque canvas of human frailty and the enduring enigma of the Mona Lisa. Amid the oppressive haze of the summer heat in Florence, Leonardo's workshop became a sanctuary of torment. Through cracks in the shuttered windows, light would pierce like accusatory fingers, illuminating the Mona Lisa's enigmatic gaze, which seemed to follow him about the room with knowing sorrow. The master, his beard streaked with grey, wrestled daily with prophecies that bloomed like dark roses in his mind, visions of mechanical beasts tearing the skies, men fleeing into waves, only to be claimed by unfathomable depths. His psychological depths ran river deep, a lover of nature's harmony, yet plagued by its cruelty. He questioned if his own inventions, flying machines, war engines, would hasten the end he foresaw. Was he a seer or a madman? And did his genius doom him to solitude and death, far from his Tuscan home? Lisa returned for sittings. Her veil cast long shadows over eyes heavy with unspoken pain. She came not just as a subject, but seeking communion with the man who saw worlds unseen. Her soul was divided, part pious devotion, part thirst for arcane wisdom inherited from her occult kin. Yet the saintly facade concealed a tragic destiny, whispered through the ages, a summons to oblivion. Her fate was sealed when the Mona Lisa smiled. One sweltering afternoon, as dust motes danced in golden rays like tormented souls in purgatory, Lisa noticed a wet paint. She lightly touched it, feeling the pulse of hidden truths beneath. Then Leonardo, his hand hovering above his magnum opus, turned to her, his voice a strained whisper, revealing a fragment of the code he deciphered. The flood commences March 21st, 4006, stars aligning in wrath. His words hung heavy with dread as he traced constellations linking to their doom. Lisa gasped, seeing in her mind's eye cathedrals once proud now submerged, their bells tolling eerily underwater. That evening, as twilight deepened into Florentine night, Salai lingered near the door. He watched them, heart heavy with disquiet, unable to comprehend the prophecy, but sensing the unraveling of his master's mind. Though born of the streets, he possessed a street smarts and intuition that often proved invaluable. But what use were these now? He felt like a banished angel, grappling with conflicting loyalties. love for his master versus the lure of quick coin. His street-born scars made him steal trinkets from merchants for fleeting joys, pleasures that quickly soured into regrets. This internal turmoil sealed his fate. He squandered his inheritance, fell into debt, and eventually challenged a fellow apprentice to a fatal duel in a wine-fueled rage. Now, haunted by his choices, he stole scraps of Leonardo's genius, hoping to sell them to the highest bidder. He confronted Leonardo under dim candlelight. Flames flickered and danced, casting grotesque shadows that mimicked hellfire on the workshop walls. With trembling hands, Salai pointed a finger at the cryptic notes, accusing Leonardo of poisoning their lives with madness. He exclaimed, "Your dreams will ruin us all." In response, Leonardo reached out, his touch gentle yet firm. He embraced his errant pupil, acknowledging Salai's turmoil, the inner battle he waged daily against his baser instincts. The clash ended in an embrace, but the wound festered, a constant ache in Leonardo's soul. It became an image forever seared into his memory. Master and pupil, faces twisted in anguish, their forms ultimately swallowed by the enveloping shadows. As the Venere di Leonardo wove deeper, he infused the landscape with deluge hints. Rivers coiled like slumbering serpents ready to strike. Mountains crumbled in eerie, misty veils, each detail a riddle from his cryptic notebooks. Men throwing away food amid famine, he wrote, foretelling the downfall brought on by greed. His contemporaries mocked him, branding him a heretic and a fraud. The ringleader, Michelangelo, needled him mercilessly. One evening, as a blood-red sunset bled across the Florentine sky, Michelangelo confronted Leonardo in the piazza, his words as sharp as daggers. He sneered, "What is this new folly, Leonardo? Your angels weep, your prophets prophesy floods and fire. Are you a painter or a soothsayer?" The crowd roared with laughter, echoing the taunts that stung like 1,000 bee stings. Leonardo felt his cheeks burn with humiliation. He wanted to retort, to defend his art and his visions, but no words came. Shame tightened its icy grip around his heart, urging him back to his secluded studio, the laughter ringing in his ears like a funeral dirge. Back in the safety of his workshop, surrounded by half-finished projects and scattered notes, Leonardo felt small, defeated. The words of his rivals pounded in his head, blurring the line between art and madness. That night, he paced restlessly, his mind a maelstrom of thoughts. Should he abandon his work, let the canvas go unfinished? Would that appease the world's scorn and his own demons? Francesco del Giocondo, Lisa's husband, a successful silk merchant, burst into the workshop one evening, his face a mask of fury in the flickering torchlight, demanding the portrait's completion. He came not just as a client, but as a man wrestling with his own conflicts, a merchant torn between social status and annoying suspicion of sorcery, his marriage crumbling like ancient ruins, his wife's extended absences, the enigmatic smile, the veiled glances, all fueled his unease, wondering if he had bargained his soul for worldly success. He found himself in a power struggle with the very forces that had elevated him, caught in a tempest of ambition and fear. The confrontation with Leonardo left scars. Francesco's fist slammed into the workbench. Splinters flew like ominous arrows, while Lisa wept quietly in the background, her fragility a poignant spectre amidst the escalating turmoil. As days grew colder, the plague struck again, claiming a neighbor's child, another victim to the relentless reaper. Bodies wrapped in shrouds were paraded past the window, on their way to burial, imprinting horror on Leonardo's soul. Tiny limbs, limp and lifeless, mothers' wails piercing the night, their eternal laments mingling with the cries of gulls. Guilt-ridden, Leonardo sketched early ventilators, yet hid them, fearing they'd brand him a heretic, deepening his tragic spiral. Salai, too, grappled with his demons. He copied prophecies in secret, his quill scratching on the page like bones on stone. Moonlight painted silver streaks across his face, highlighting the conflict raging within him. Torn between protecting Leonardo's legacy and profiting from its secrets, he was a vessel of darkness, stealing from his master, betraying his trust. In the midst of this moral quandary, Lisa sat for her final sitting. Rain lashed against the shuttered windows, mirroring the tempest in her heart. Thunder punctuated her words as she confessed her occult readings, her voice trembling with both fear and excitement. She spoke of summoning spirits, of communing with beings from beyond the veil, seeking answers to questions humanity had pondered since time began. Leonardo listened, his brow furrowed in concentration, finding kinship in her otherworldliness. Yet he couldn't help but shudder at her visions of burning stakes and shadowed hunts. His initial fascination with her unique perspective was giving way to a chilling premonition of persecution. Then Lisa uttered 3 words that sent a shiver down his spine. "The end draws near." With those words, the 72 cipher wove deeper, multiplied by eras to pinpoint the exact hour of doom. Her eyes held CE for Cataclysm's era, whispered of a beast stirring in the depths, a leviathan lurking. Soon, a storm flooded the streets, turning the Arno River into a raging torrent. Salai, caught in its surge, was swept off his feet and tumbled through the churning waters. Leonardo, alerted by screams, rushed to the bank. Seeing Salai struggling against the current, he plunged into the flood without hesitation. Their soaked embrace, a tableau of redemption amid the chaos. Waters swirled around them like vengeful spirits, carrying them further downstream. By now, the smile had shifted. In shifting light, veiling terror, Leonardo thought of destroying his work, his blade hovering over the canvas in dimness, his soul's divide a perpetual eclipse. Amidst the looming deluge, he knew he couldn't save the world from its sins. Perhaps he could only save himself. Or perhaps there was more to the prophecy, more to life than the bleak picture of damnation he had painted. But as he stood staring at the canvas, the answer eluded him, lost in the labyrinth of his own design. And so the prophecy hung over them, a sword of Damocles forged in stars and shadows, waiting to fall.